I talked to Aaron Banks in the locker room, did an extended interview with him. Talked to Chris Kasarik in the locker room, did an extended interview with him. And the one thing that Banks said, Damon, really resonated. He's like, you know what? We came in at half and nobody was panicking, but it was like guys were kind of pissed. And it was like, dude, we are not going out like that. And they came out. I mean, you could tell in that third quarter, the way the Niners took the ball to begin the second half really was like, you haven't gotten the best of us yet. I mean, and they wind up settling for a Jake Moody 43-yard field goal to make it 24-10. But I thought the crucial mistake, and tell me if you think this was it. I thought the crucial mistake was Dan Campbell. It's 3rd and goal from the 6, and Goff goes to Gibbs for 3 yards. They're 4th and goal from the 2 with 10 seconds left. They're up at that point 21-7. If they go up 28-7 there, it is such a absolute deflator. You could feel the game hanging by a thread. The 49ers don't have the crowd into it or anything, and they get to 4th and goal from the 2, and you've got Montgomery who is ripping off 6.8 a carry. That you're going for like 9 yards a play in the first half, and you settle for a Michael Badgley field goal at the end of a 17-play drive. If you had punched it in there and it's 28-7, man, it is freaking ball game. But instead, he goes for it with the field goal, makes it 24-7, and then the Niners get the field goal coming out of the half, and all of a sudden it's 24-10, and you're thinking, and then he goes for it on 4th and 2 at the 28 instead of kicking the field goal there, and it's like, okay.
Larry, he kicked the field goal when he shouldn't have and passed on kicking the field goal when he should have.
Right. I know that sounds like we're kind of just ripping him either way, but it's different scenarios. And the way Montgomery was running, and you're known as a go for it guy. And to me, to go for the field goal there going into the half really was the first mistake. And then
you could see Campbell wrestling with the decision. You saw it right over the TV on the broadcast. He was painfully thinking about, what do I do? What do I do? He left his offense out on that field for his entire decision-making process, and Fox had the camera right on him. And then you finally see him, do this. In other words, we're going for the field goal. And look, he at times managed that game like a drunk kid playing Madden, where he's like, we're just going for it. I'm just going to go for it the entire time. But look, that is what got the Lions to the game. Dan Campbell was 17-20 on 4th and short this season. What he did
go ahead.
What he didn't have happen often was Reynolds dropping 2 huge drops, Gibbs with that fumble. I mean, there are a lot more than just the Dan Campbell decisions that went into that comeback. But, Niners history is dotted with moments, the catch 2. That 8-minute stretch where they put up 17 unanswered right out of the rip is
right.
One of the, I don't know what Niner fans want to end up calling that, the 8 minutes, the third quarter, I don't know, but it's one of the single greatest momentum grabs and game-changing swings we've ever seen in a postseason game. The 49ers erased the largest halftime deficit in NFC Championship history to reach the Super Bowl. My goodness.
Well, not only that, Damon. So, it's amazing how fast it all happened. Okay, so as you said, the Niners score the field goal, then Detroit gets the ball back. They go for it on 4th and 2 and don't get it. So then you're thinking, wait a second. Now it's a 14-point game and the Niners have the ball. It's still early third quarter. Then he goes up top immediately to Ayuk against Vildor, and Ayuk makes this amazing catch. Purdy goes to Ayuk on 3rd and goal from the 6 with a 6-yard touchdown pass.
Great window throw too. That was maybe the best throw of the night, to be honest.
That was maybe his best throw. Then Gibson gets the forced fumble and Armstead falls on it. And still, to me, one of the hugest plays is they go to Kittle on first down at the 24 on the next play after the fumble, negative yardage. So now they're 2nd and 11. 2nd and 11 from the 25. And at this point, if you can't turn that that Gibson fumble into a touchdown, it almost would feel like Detroit was getting momentum back.
Totally.
And Purdy ran on 2nd and 11 from the 25, down 21-yard run to the 4 for the first down.
Lamar Purdy.
That was freaking huge, because that almost guaranteed they were going to score the touchdown and tie the game, which they did. And then the Lions went 3 and out on the next drive. And they had been running it at will. And what do they do on the next drive? 2 out of their 3 pass plays were pass plays. So, to me, that was amazing. And then, to get the ball back with 2:01 left in the third quarter. Purdy then takes 2 sacks late in that drive, and they settle for the field goal by Jake Moody to make it 27-24. And you're like, oh man, I still think, not 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and the Lions start that drive, and you're thinking, okay, they're gonna go down and make something happen or run the ball out. So then it gets to 1st and 10 on that drive from the 47 of their own, right? They run Montgomery for a first down. He goes for 16 yards. Damon, in my mind, I'm thinking after that play, they can just run this at will and control the clock and, drive down, score maybe one more touchdown and win by 4. Next play, flea flicker, and it goes incomplete. And I'm like, then Goff overthrew Gibbs.
I set the over under at 1.5 flea flickers in the over hit, baby. I mean, Dan Campbell.
But how do you go flea flicker after you just ran for 16 yards and you've got Montgomery and Gibbs? All you got to do is ride that duo to the finish line, and you're starting to get fancy with flea flickers. And oh my God, right there, I was like, this guy, this offensive coordinator is either a genius or an idiot. Because that was just absolutely crazy to not stay with the run there. And then 4th and 3 from the 37, Goff throws incomplete, but he was on the run. It's like, what? You're running the ball at will. You get to 4th and 3. Do you hand it to Montgomery? No. You have Goff on the run. I mean, it was unbelievable turnaround.
There were some really interesting to be second guessed forever choices from Dan Campbell. There were some plays that the Lions absolutely left on that field, and that wasn't Dan Campbell's fault. I mean, the players got to play, but I mean, the Goff on one of the 4th downs where he should have run the ball, he threw a perfect pass and his wide receiver just dropped it. I mean, it was an awful lot of luck that went into the 49ers coming back in that game, as much as it was them grabbing momentum and seizing the moment and capitalizing on all those big moments. And then the Lions, again, it's not very often a run first, second, and third football team abandons the run when it's up by about 20 points in the second half of an NFC title game. But that's kind of what happened. And you think about, Larry, how devastating this all really is. And, we're here to cover everything that happened through the prism of the 49ers, and they're in the Super Bowl, and isn't that exciting, everyone? But just for a minute, look at what the Lions just blew.
Oh,
look at what the Lions just blew. There's a very good chance that is the only great chance they're ever going to have to get to a Super Bowl. How are you going to find a better chance than that? How are you going to find it? The Lions, how high is your probability of going to the Super Bowl when you're up 24-7 at halftime of the NFC Championship game? I don't know if the Lions in their franchise's history will ever be in a more advantageous situation to get to a Super Bowl than that.
Yeah. No, it was there. It was absolutely there for them, and Dan Campbell gagged so bad. But I will say this, too. It was a combination of Campbell gagging and Purdy just rising in the moment. To me, the other one, so he had 3 scrambles towards the end, but the Niners drive that they got the ball back in the fourth quarter with 7.5 minutes to play, up 3. They start on their own 30. They run CMC for 7 yards. Purdy bootleg passes to Debo for 8 on 2nd and 2. Then they run CMC for 2 yards on 1st and 10 from the 45. Then Purdy goes to CMC for a short pass on 2nd and 8. It's 3rd and 4, Damon, from basically midfield, the 49-yard line. And this was where this game was absolutely won by Purdy. This is where this guy's really special. He scrambled for 21 on 3rd and 4 to make it 1st and 10 on the 28. Next play, CMC runs for 25 down to the 3. And then Shanahan puts in Elijah Mitchell, who's so good in short yardage, even though he's a small guy. And he goes in to make it 34-24.
Well, and McCaffrey asking out, it looks like, I mean, he came down square on his neck. And, he put the finger up, get me out for one play. And Kyle did that. So,
I mean, he wasn't, they would have stayed with CMC there.
Been 3 touchdowns.
3rd and 4 from Purdy to scramble on 3rd and 4 for 21. The decisiveness. I mean, it was just like, you know what? There's money on the table. I'm a competitor, and I don't care how big I am or this or that, how fast I am or whatever. I want it, and I'm going for it. And that was just Shanahan said when he was asked at the presser after the game about Purdy's running. He's like, what was the impact of Purdy's running? And he's like, it was the difference between winning and losing.
Yeah, I don't think he's exaggerating. I thought the other play that just showed Purdy's mettle was when he basically had a sack roll off of him, and then he finds Kyle Juszczyk for about a 9-yard gain, and Juszczyk is tippy-toeing it over on the sideline. That was another play. Just Purdy extending a play that probably should have been buried for a 5-yard sack. And the kids just got, I mean, what is it? I don't know it. I can't describe it, but I know it when I see it. And there's a lot of people in the media who either, like Ryan Clark, were just lying to themselves, or they
whatever.
Can't see it. They can't see it. And I don't know why they can't see it. Maybe it's just a bias against the player, the franchise, the talking point that gets you the most amount of attention. I don't know, but
you think that it looks accidental. Like if you watch it once, you're like, wow, this guy got kind of fortunate. And then you realize, you know what? No, it's not fortune. He's processing what he sees. He's not a perfect player. And he does, the interception to Malcolm Rodriguez was bad. I mean, and it was predictable too. I saw it. I mean, he kind of took a hit on the play and he kind of rushed it. And he didn't, there's nothing on the ball and it just floated. It was bad. It was definitely bad, but it's like the guy makes a lot of plays, and the poise under pressure. The interesting thing about the game, I thought, was that Purdy, in talking about the game, was like, "Yeah, we really looking forward to this game. It's a new game, new week," and he's like, "It's going to be really important that we, something like control the momentum." And then sure enough, I mean, this game was so much about momentum. Once the momentum shifted to the Niners, you just felt like Detroit got tight.
Well, and that stadium got loose and loud. It was
really loud.
Look at it this way, is Levi Stadium's greatest nemesis. Let me tell you, last night was the first night Levi Stadium really roared to life as the home of the San Francisco 49ers. By the way, they are undefeated in the postseason at Levi Stadium, so I guess that place needs to, get that labeled as something that has happened there.
You come on over, Damon. Be a fan of Levi's.
Architectural disaster to this day. But hey, when you're winning games, nobody notices that the stadium looks like it's still under construction.